I'm Kimberly Penny, one of the co-directors of Health and Wellness at 9 Health Fair.
And I'm Alex Andrews. I'm the Director of Volunteer Engagement. We're going to walk you through a virtual model fair today. You might come in and see these kinds of signs that direct your volunteers where to go. And we're going to start off with the volunteer registration area. Come right out over here. So this is a table that you might have set up for your volunteers to register. When they register, some of our volunteers are going to split into non-medical versus medical. You're going to want to make sure you sign in anybody that wasn't registered on the website and have them make sure you have their name and information. They have name tags if they are cashiers, medical volunteers, or they're at your Ask a Medical station. You can give them their ribbons. You want to make sure that they've got their protocols as well. Hopefully those are actually at their stations. Pins, t-shirts, if they would like to get their blood drawn, make sure that they know that they get 20% off of that. After you register and check them in, give them a map. Make sure they know where to go. So your map can look really unique to your site, obviously. After they check in here, you can direct them to your volunteer break room. So that's a break room where they can go and get breakfast and lunch. You want to make sure that they don't leave that area with any food. If they do bring drinks out, it needs to be something that's capped, a closed container. We typically only allow water and coffee outside of the volunteer break room. We want to make sure it's a really professional environment. So we leave all the food and drinks in that break room. Okay. Now we're at the beginning of your fair where your participants are going to come in. And they have your welcome signs like this. You want to make sure when you go in with your participants that they're going to split in between online registration and walk-in registration. Now we're at on-site registration. When you have a participant come into your fair, you're going to want to make sure to give them their registration form. Please fill out everything that's in yellow. Right here you need to make sure to check the screenings that you would like, and then we have a couple additional questions there if you would answer them.
Thank you.
We also have an authorization form. This is going to allow 9 Health Fair to educate you more and give you more information on your health year round.
That's
so we
great.
would love it if you fill this out.
Sure.
We also have a map of our site, and if you would take that over to the registration, there are tables and pens right over there. You can fill that all out.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So when your participants are filling out this form, this is a good reference for them. You're also going to have a medical volunteer that will explain more to you in a moment.
Hi, my name's Kimberly. I'm a registered nurse. How
Thank
can I help you?
I was just going to ask you for some help. I'm really confused. I don't know what these different blood screenings mean.
Okay, so right here we have a description of all of our blood screenings. So the basic blood chemistry is a pretty popular one. It goes into great deal, and as you can see, there are all the different things it lists. If you're worried about diabetes, there's this one, and then we have a couple of vitamins and hormones. So do you want me to go through any of these with you specifically?
I'm really curious about vitamin D.
Okay.
What is that going to show me? Okay, as you can see now we're at Form Check. We have a protocol that makes this really easy at Form Check for your volunteers. You are going to check 2 separate forms here. First, you saw that registration form that had lots of yellow on it. They're going to go through this left-hand side, and then on the right-hand side, it's going to go through a check boxes of what you should go through on the authorization form that you're collecting. Make sure they filled out everything in yellow. Make sure that they have checked the screenings that they would like, and then you are going to witness at the bottom. After you go through the authorization form, you want to make sure that you tear off the top copy. They're going to keep that, and we are going to retain the yellow copy in the back, okay? That's going to go back to your cashier supervisor at the end of the fair. And don't forget, if they do sign this authorization form, you want to make sure to go back to their participant form. There is a yellow box that says signed authorization received. We would like you to check that if they did sign the authorization form. Then you're done at the station. Okay, so now you're at the cashiering station. You're gonna make sure that you send your on-site participants here, the ones that need to register the day of. And they're gonna, again, have that form that's got all the yellow boxes. Many of the sites like to divide up which of the cashiers are taking cash, check, or they want to use a credit card. So do what works best for your site. If you want all of your cashiers to accept any of those, you need to make sure that they have all the appropriate materials. They're going to want to make sure that they add up any of the screenings, including a colon cancer kit. They're going to pay for all those blood screenings and colon cancer kit at cashiering. You also want to ask your cashiers to ask those participants if they would like to donate to 9 Health Fair. As a nonprofit, we do actually need a lot of donations to keep functioning and have our operations run smoothly. So any donations that we can get are greatly appreciated. So make sure that those areas on the forms actually were witnessed, and again, it's double checking that all the yellow portions were filled out, and then you're going to have that participant retain their lab copy, the top white copy. You're going to keep the green copy, and then they're going to go through with the bottom yellow copy, okay? So that's the lab copy, or actually the participant copy, I apologize. This is participant, yellow, cashiers retain green, and the lab, once they get there, will retain the top white copy. So this is the online registration table. When you first come in your fair, this is where we were talking about having your participants in 2 separate lines. One to go to on-site, where the walk-in participant, and then if they've already registered on the 9 Health Fair website, here's the table that they're going to be directed to. One thing that's extremely useful for you as a leadership volunteer, have your volunteers that are doing online registration utilize this document. It will step through every possible instance. So anything that happens to an online registration, this 9 Health Fair online registration checklist will help them know what to do. There is another version of this. There is a checklist like this as well. Both of these documents are saved on the resource library. If you log into your coordinator dashboard, you can find these useful tools there. So when they come in with their printout, it should be 2 pages. You're going to have a lab copy and a participant copy. Right here I'm showing you the lab copy. You want to make sure when they come in, they're going to have a registration number on their lab copy. You want to make sure that registration number matches up with the online participant report that you have received. That online participant report can be downloaded, again, directly from your coordinator dashboard. If you find them on that online report, you're going to want to check them off. Make sure that they have gone through. It'll say whether it was denied or accepted on that report. Make sure it has been accepted. You're going to want to witness year and date. You're also going to want to have this document. It is an online exception report. So if something happened, say you have a participant that came from another fair. They registered for a fair that's, 10 miles down the road, but they came to your fair. You're going to want to put that participant on this form. Don't turn them away, accept them. So you're going to put all their information, their pre-registration ID, the site that they did register for, their name, phone number, and description of the issue. There are other reasons you may need to use this exception report, so keep this handy. Again, the document that I showed you at the beginning that you could print here, it's going to walk through all those what if kind of scenarios. So you don't need to worry about memorizing all of them. Have this document on hand for your volunteers. You also, I want to make sure that you have this station well stocked with volunteers. We're having more and more participants register online, so make sure you have quite a few volunteers ready to help out your participants get through this line quickly. Hello, how can I help you?
I'm here to sign in. My name is Kimberly Penny.
Okay, how can I help you? So I see this is your registration form. Uh-oh, I see it's double-sided. We actually need to have those on 2 separate papers.
Okay.
So I'm going to give you an additional paper here.
Great.
We're going to fill out the screenings that you already paid for here. This one will stay in the lab, and this one is going to stay with you.
Oh, I see. The screeners can write my screenings down for me.
Exactly.
Okay, that makes sense. Sorry about that.
I'm going to make sure to write in the number of hours you've been fasting so the lab knows that information. And I'm also going to witness at the bottom
Thank
before you
you.
take that to the lab.
Okay, great.
And before you go there, make sure that you bring these stickers. A little bit tricky to tear off sometimes. You're gonna bring these to the lab with you. And they
Okay.
are gonna put these on the vials of
Excellent.
blood when they draw for you.
Okay, perfect.
All right, thanks
Thank
for
you.
coming.
Oh, you know what? I forgot my colon kit. Where do I get that?
Oh, that's right, you did pay for a colon kit. Thank you so much.
Sure.
So here is your colon cancer kit. All the directions are inside.
Okay, great.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Hi, welcome to Colon Cancer Education. How can I help you?
Well, I just really don't know much about colon
Okay.
cancer, the science of it. I don't know
Okay.
anything. Help me.
Well, we have a questionnaire here if you'd like to look it over. Do you have any family history of colon
I
cancer?
actually do,
You do?
yes.
And how old are you?
I'm almost 40.
Okay. And let's see here. Some of these, if you answered no, you'll go to question 3, but you answered yes. Are you having any of these symptoms?
Yeah, there's a couple in there.
I think it would be a good idea for you to go ahead and take the kit home with you, and I can hand that out
Oh,
to you
it's a
now.
take-home kit.
It's a take-home kit.
That's awesome.
And we have instructions for you. And why don't we have you talk to our Ask a Medical Question, get a referral
Okay.
volunteer, and they can go into a little bit more in-depth
Okay.
of what you can do.
Oh, this was really helpful. Thank you so much. So I marked this on my registration form?
You did. You already paid for it.
Okay.
So you're probably just going through, and then I can give that to you.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And what you'll do is you'll make sure you put your sample and you'll mail it back to Quest Diagnostics. It does not go back to 9 Health Fair, and you'll see a little 9 Health Fair written in here.
Okay, perfect. That was really helpful. Thank you so much.
Sure thing. In addition to having a medical registration educator at the front of your fair to answer participant medical questions, you'll also want to have a station set up with medical questions and get a referral screening. That could be a nurse, a doctor, an NP, physician, pharmacist, anyone who can answer medical questions based on the screenings and provide resources in case someone has a question about resources in their community. We have a whole list of resources in here for your volunteers, and we have subject matter based on our screenings as well. We have it in English, and we also have it in Spanish. At the beginning of the fair, this station is typically not that busy, so it's a good time to have this volunteer help the registration educator in registration to get those medical questions answered and expedite people through the lines. And here we are in the lab. You'll want to have a lab supervisor who oversees everything, make sure everyone has what they need, and can help troubleshoot with any problems. You'll have a centrifuge area where your blood will be spun, and you will have a centrifuge supervisor as well. As you can see, the tables are well set with spacing in between the 2 phlebotomists that will be sitting here. No one should ever be sharing a Sharps container. 1 Sharps container per phlebotomist. Every 9 Health Fair will have a first aid station in close proximity to the lab in case someone needs immediate attention. You should have a cot and a pillow, as well as a medical professional handling this station so they can get that participant comfortable to where they need to be so that they will be able to leave your fair safely.
So now we're at your kids zone, kids corner. You want to have an area outside of the lab area so that kids are safe, all right? It's really 18 and younger, if they're under 18, they need to be outside of the lab area. So you want to make sure to get a couple of volunteers that can just sit with kiddos while their parents or whatever adults they're with are getting their blood drawn. Also do the same thing if you have other private screenings going on. Have a little kids area outside. So just set up some really simple things. It doesn't need to be complicated at all. You can see here they just have coloring things. I also want to talk to you really quickly about this kids card. If you are offering children's screenings at your fair, you can hand out this kids card right at walk-in registration. You might want to have a few at online registration as well, just in case they come in with kiddos and they weren't aware that there was children's screenings. So you can see at this fair, they have them on a lanyard. So they can put it right around mom or dad or the kiddo's neck. They can go around to the children's screeners and mark the information. Then right over here, as your participants are leaving the lab area, you're going to want to make sure that you have juice and crackers available. Not everybody wants to fast. It is not a requirement to fast to get your blood drawn, but if they have fasted before their blood draw, you want to make sure to help them out. Give them a little bit of nourishment after they're done in the lab area.
Each 9 Health Fair will have some basic screenings. As you can see here, we offer free height, weight, BMI, and body mass index. These screenings can actually be performed by a non-medical volunteer. You'll need medical volunteers to perform free blood pressure and pulse screenings. And we can actually go in this room and you can see where the screenings could happen to take place. And this is an example of our children's free height, weight, BMI, and free blood pressure and pulse screening for children. Each screener will have a tally sheet. You want to clearly indicate whether it's for adults or for children. You can see here that this is in a blue color copy, and we know that it's at the Lamar Street Fair Station. And then it's for the screening, height, weight, and BMI. So you will track the normal versus those who need further evaluation based on the protocol. This is an example of a tally sheet for height, weight, BMI for children, and it's the same process used to take track of the results. Also, each screener will record the results on the participant's walk-in registration form or on the online registration copy, depending on whether or not the participant registered on-site or online. They will have a copy of their results.
Now we're looking at the map again of the fair location, and you can see that there's different listings on this. Some of these are what we call an IEC. That's an interactive education center. Okay. We also have something called a total wellness zone, and we try to distinguish between those two. We have a list of approved IECs, which are like information tables. We have that list on our website. Okay, so you can see here, this one is diabetes prevention and A1C. They're going to be educating folks on that. HelloFresh here would be more considered a total wellness zone. So there is a distinction between those two. The IECs are approved and they go through that approval process by 9 Health Fair staff. And something like HelloFresh, you get a little bit more flexibility when you invite these kinds of folks from your community. So you can see if you go throughout, all these different ones are going to provide information. All right, so AA, a PTSD table, and you can make these distinctions. You can have them all together or you can have your own zones. Let's see. These ones are not required. These are completely up to you whether or not you want to have IECs or a total wellness zone at your fair. All that information is completely optional. The next thing that you're going to do at the very end is you're going to have a checkout or an exit kind of table. At those particular tables, they're double checking that walk-in form, right? If they walk in or they were online registrant, you want to make sure they're not leaving with cashier copies, they're not leaving with the lab copy. They want to only leave with the participant copy. That children's card that I showed you earlier, that's theirs to keep. There's not a version that stays at the fair. They keep that. Now the last two things you're going to want to do at your checkout station, remember that authorization form that you were handing out at the beginning? You want to double check that that participant is only leaving with the top white copy. If they still have the yellow copy on the back of that, then you can tear off that yellow copy. We need to keep that. That needs to go back to 9 Health Fair. One option that you can have at your checkout station is an exit survey. This is a great way to collect information about your participants' experience, maybe demographic information, how they heard about your fair. Want to make sure they're short and sweet, but it's a good way to capture information about your participants. So make sure that your volunteers are ready to collect those exit surveys as well.